There you go. It's gone. Perfect. Good evening. I'd like to call to order tonight's regular City Commission meeting for November 2nd, 2020. Can we please have a roll call, Tabitha?
Mayor Young?
Here.
Commissioner Guthrie?
Here.
Commissioner Lewis?
Here.
Commissioner Badway?
Here.
And Commissioner Wilkinson?
Present.
We have Pastor John Kuntz from Park Avenue Baptist Church here to help us with their invocations. Oh, no, we don't.
We have Jordan Counts from Park Avenue.
Jordan Counts, sorry. Counts, I just totally, sorry about that. There you go. Here we go. Pastor Jordan Counts. Sorry about that.
All my life, let's pray.
Sorry.
Gracious and almighty God, you're all-knowing, all-wise, all-powerful, all-loving, and you love us so much you sent your Son Jesus, and you sustain us with your Spirit. We ask for your Holy Spirit to be with us tonight and the work of, doing the work of the city. We ask for that same Spirit to be across this land and in El Dorado as the elections are held tomorrow. And we just give you all the praise and glory because you are ultimately in charge. For these things we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Counts. Appreciate it. Everyone, please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so we have a proclamation tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and read the proclamation. Take this off for a second. Whereas Veterans Day has its origins in the November 11th, 1918 armistice, which brought World War I to a conclusion. And whereas the people of the United States caused, through their elected representatives, the designating of November 11th as a federal legal holiday, which in 1954 became officially known thereafter as Veterans Day. And whereas Veterans Day continues to be celebrated and commemorated with solemn observances in honor of all Americans who have served their country in times of war and conflict, and whereas the courage, honor, sacrifice, and dedication which veterans of the United States Armed Forces have displayed in the cause of justice, freedom, and democracy are most worthy of recognition. Now, whereas in serious times of war and conflict, the members of the United States military have always performed their duties with courage, valor, and dedication. And whereas, whether on home soil or in foreign lands, our men and women in uniform have given their time and their lives to help to keep their promise to America, to preserve our heritage of freedom. And whereas today we salute these veterans throughout Kansas and throughout the nation, who continue to distinguish their profession and demonstrate their commitment to America by continuing to answer the call of their civil duties. And whereas on this day of honor, we have the opportunity and responsibility to pay tribute to these great veterans who answered the call to keep America free so that her flag may always wave. Therefore, I, Bill Young, Mayor of El Dorado, do hereby call upon all citizens to commend America's veterans and observe with solemn pride November 11th, 2020 as Veterans Day. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused to be affixed the official seal of the city of El Dorado, Kansas, to be affixed this second day of November, 2020. Okay, next on the agenda is personal appearances. Personal appearances are opportunities for organizations or citizens to make special presentations before the City Commission. Such appearances are scheduled in advance of the meeting by calling City Clerk Tabitha Sharp at 316-321-9100 by 5 p.m. the Tuesday preceding the meeting. Presentations are limited to 10 minutes. Any presentation is for information purposes only and no action will be taken. Tabitha, do we have any personal appearances tonight?
We do not.
Okay. We'll move on to public comment. Persons who wish to address the City Commission regarding items not on the agenda and that are under the jurisdiction of the City Commission may do so when called upon. Comments on personnel matters and matters pending in court are not permitted. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Any presentation is for information purposes only and no action will be taken. Citizens with information for the city commission are encouraged to contact City Clerk Tabitha Sharp at 316-321-9100 for instructions on alternative ways of communicating with the city commission. Is there anybody here tonight that would like to make any public comment? Okay. Move on to the next item, the consent agenda. This is the approval of city commission minutes from October 19th, 2020. Do I have a motion?
I move that the consent agenda as presented be approved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. We don't have anything in old business, so we're going to move right on to new business. Agenda item number 10, our land bank ordinance.
City Commission, the ordinance before you today will establish the El Dorado Land Bank by state law, which was established back in 2009. Municipalities are granted the ability to create and establish land banks, which grants cities the legal authority to address components of the speculation, abandonment, delinquency cycle by having a formalized process for the forgiveness and temporary exemption of property taxes. So if a property becomes delinquent in property taxes and/or special assessments, as the case may be, presently, the city doesn't have a mechanism to forgive those special assessments, except for, I guess, the city can, in some cases, forgive their own special assessments. But if it has delinquent property taxes, those property taxes are placed as a lien on the property, and after 3 years, that property would then go to a tax sale. By having a land bank, properties can be placed in the land bank, which is really a legal construct or a legal framework. And by doing so, the property taxes and any liens that are on the property can be forgiven so that the property can be put forward with basically a clean slate in terms of taxes so that it can be put to productive use sooner than not. In some cases, like for example, a property that the city was recently looking at for acquisition, we learned later that it had an $11,000 lien on the property. And so depending on what type of lien it is, the city's land bank may be able to address that, specifically if it's in the case of property taxes. The land bank may acquire property in 3 different ways. Number 1, it can purchase or transfer at a sheriff's sale for tax delinquent properties. 2, direct purchase from the property owner of a property that is strategically located to assist with a redevelopment plan. Or 3, donation or transfer from a government agency. So those 3 mechanisms can place a property in the land bank, and then a property can be in the land bank until such time as the land bank either sells or provides a property to a third party outside of the land bank, which has to be approved by the land bank board, which in this case will be the city commission until a land bank board is approved, if that ever happens. So the governing body will be the board until such time as another board is approved. With that, I will take any questions that you all may have.
What's your ordinance number gonna be?
G 1339.
Okay, so why can't, so 708 South Star, why are we not proceeding with that if we're doing this? What's the difference?
So that tax lien was actually a state tax, and so we can't actually wipe clean a state tax. So it was likely an income tax situation where the property owner owed $11,000 or whatever the lien was. If, however, it would have been a property tax situation, so he just failed, a property owner fails to pay their property taxes for a period of time, the land bank can actually forgive those property tax delinquencies as opposed to requiring it to go to tax sale where it will have to be either bid up or somebody will have to pay those, and then that adds to the probability that it won't ever be purchased by someone that can redevelop it.
Right.
Right now, it's sitting wide open. There's any way to board it all up?
It's my understanding that we are going to take administrative action to address that specific property. So the land bank wouldn't address that property because of the tax situation is a state tax, not a local tax.
But we'll address that property through our demo fund, is what you're saying.
That's right.
Yeah.
When we talked about this at work session, we talked about whether it was going to be city that did the administration, or an advisory committee?
That's right.
Did we make a decision which way?
No, so what we embedded in the ordinance, that the Board of Trustees rather will be the city commission until such time as a board is appointed to fill those spots. So if the city commission decides not to appoint a board, it will continue to be the Board of Trustees. But in the future, if the commission decides that we would like an advisory board to do that, then the appointments can be made and the commission will no longer be the Board of Trustees. But as it is right now, the commission will kind of have a double purpose. Many cities actually do it that way, as a matter of fact.
Any other questions? Mr. Mayor, I move to approve orders number 1339, an ordinance establishing Chapter 15, Article 50 of the Municipal Code of the City of El Dorado, Kansas pertaining to the establishment of a land bank for the City of El Dorado, Kansas.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, this should have been a roll call vote.
What does it say roll call on here, Tab?
I know.
I'm following your directions.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, Tab, the roll call vote, please.
Mayor Young,
Yes.
Commissioner Guthrie,
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis.
Yes.
Commissioner Radley,
Yes.
and Commissioner Wilkinson.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Okay, agenda item number 11, the Evergreen Agreement.
Mayor, Commission. So for the last 13 years since the El Dorado Water Reclamation Facility has been built, we've been acquiring wood chips for free. We use wood chips to process our biosolids. We add about 50% wood chips, 50% biosolids to aid in the decomposition process so that the final product is Class A biosolids. So for 13 years, we've been getting wood chips for free, basically, from the contractors that trim for Westar, which is now Evergy. We've contacted Wrights and Asplund. They're reaching the end of their major trimming, and so now it's just kind of maintenance. So over the last year, the supply has vastly been reduced. So we have to have the wood chips to process the biosolids. We've been looking elsewhere. The contract with Evergreen is the most cost-effective. The City of El Dorado currently purchases wood chips for the Parks and Rec Department. They spend $8,000 to $10,000 a year. Of course, we haven't spent anything to get our wood chips. But if we were to go out and just buy wood chips, it would cost a lot more than that. The contract with Evergy, it kind of kills two birds with one stone.
With Evergreen.
Yeah. Did I say Evergreen?
You said Evergy.
Evergreen. So in the past, when we accumulate tree material at the compost area, they have to burn it to get rid of it. This way we'll be able to recycle or use that. They'll come in under this contract as many times as required. Right now, the compost area is probably 70–80% full. So we're anticipating sometime in January, February, after the first of the year, they would come in and grind. Out of that, we would get 1,000 cubic yards of wood chips for our operation. Parks and Rec would get 450 cubic yards, which is what they estimate they buy every year. And then we would also have an additional pile there for residents to come and load up in the pickup and mulch trees or do whatever they want to with it. So, and we won't have to burn and smoke at the town. So it's a win-win. We'd rather not have to purchase, but this is the most cost-effective way moving forward to continue to get wood chips.
What would it cost just to buy wood chips? You say a bunch, I'm curious.
It would cost us about $15,000. So if Parks and Rec are spending $10,000 a year, $8,000 to $10,000, and we're spending 15, then we're at 23, 25,000 a year.
Right.
And we still have to burn the pile out there, and the public doesn't get the benefit of being able to come and get free wood chips.
On the site plan that were provided, is this located to the east or west of where the public dumps now?
This is east. So as you drive in underneath the tracks, this is
Yeah.
all the way to the left or all the way to the east side,
Okay.
yeah. And right now, they pushed up, the pile, it's probably 15, 18 foot tall, it's a pretty good sized pile. And it's probably 70, 80% of this area right now. And so once it gets full, we'll give them a call and they'll mobilize and come and grind everything up. If there's more there than what we can utilize and what the public will utilize, they will take the rest. And they are actually hauling, they will haul, the quality of the wood chips that the Parks and Rec Department uses is not this ground material. It's much better than that. And so they're bringing that material from their Wichita facility and hauling it over here, and so they'll get their 450 yards wherever they want it dumped. The 1,000 cubic yards that we get, they will haul from this site out to the water reclamation facility for us.
Okay, so they do that.
That's all included.
Do I have a motion?
I move to approve a service agreement with Evergreen Feedstock LLC and authorize the mayor to execute said agreement.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
Is this a big hit in the budget? It's all, I mean, this is okay. This will work under the budget, even next year's budget?
Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
we specifically looked at it so that we could fit it with the.
Okay, that's,
Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Thanks, Kurt.
I have one more quick announcement.
Okay.
I haven't really made a public announcement yet, but most of my staff knows. Been thinking about retirement. I will have reached my Capers eligibility the end of this year. Was planning on retiring the end of January. Capers came back and said it's to my benefit if I retire end of December 25th really. And so after 28 years, I'm kind of sad and kind of excited at the same time, but going to retire from the city of El Dorado. My wife has taught in Andover School District for 31 years, and she will retire at the end of this school year too. So we'll both be retired, and looking forward to it, and kind of regretting it at the same time. So,
You realize you're too young for this.
thank you.
Thank you. Kurt, we appreciate all your service to the community. What are your plans in retirement?
You know, we've had a lot of exchange students over the years, and prior to COVID hitting, our plan was to go and visit our students and their families in Germany and Italy and Chile and do some traveling. Once this COVID, the pandemic is over, we'll do some of that. In the meantime, I think we're just going to travel in the United States. So,
Congratulations.
Yes.
thank you.
Congrats. Thank you, Kurt. Okay, next item on the agenda item number 12, the Prairie Trails Golf Course Agreement.
City Commission before you tonight is I gotta get this right here. It's an installment contract for deed for the sale of Prairie Trails Golf Course to Prairie Trails Golf LLC. Mr. Troy Palmer currently owns and operates the Augusta Country Club, and so they will organize it under the Prairie Trails Golf LLC name. The purchase price is for $500,000. There will be a down payment of $50,000, which also is less the escrow funds of $5,000. And then the balance of the $450,000 will be paid over the duration of 5 years with $2,000 monthly payments. The city, in essence, is self-financing or we are financing the transaction so that it can occur over a 5-year period. And then at any point in time, Mr. Palmer may elect to pay in advance, pay the balance, and do so without penalty. In addition, after the agreement has been consummated, the city would agree to pay any property taxes for the duration of the term, and that's included in here as well. The other two things I want to point out real quickly was the two first right of refusals. The first right of refusal is if the purchaser ceases to operate a golf course in accordance with the terms of the agreement. That first right of refusal states that the purchaser will agree that that it will operate an 18-hole golf course on the property following closing. In the event that the purchaser is unable or unwilling to meet its obligations as outlined in the agreement or elects to discontinue operating a golf course, the purchaser agrees that the city shall have a first right of refusal to purchase the property as described in the agreement at a purchase price equal to the purchase price described basically for the $500,000, including any documented capital investments made in the property. So at that point in time, assuming that Mr. Palmer and his group has made capital investments in the property, we would sit down and determine what that looked like, and then that would be the first right of refusal, would be the current value of the property, $500,000, and then whatever he's put in terms of capital investments. The second first right of refusal is if the purchaser intends to sell the property, and that in the event that the purchaser receives a bona fide offer from a prospective buyer to purchase the property, the purchaser shall first transmit to the city, not less than 60 days prior to the time of the proposed sale, written notice of the intention to make the sale. The notice will set forth the terms and conditions, and then the city shall have a right of first refusal to purchase the property within 30 days at the then market value of the property. So there will be those two first rights of refusal as very closely, very similar to what was included in the last transaction with Great Life Golf and Fitness. So those are included in that form. So the city will have still at least a first right of refusal on those two scenarios moving forward. Other than that, I think those are pretty much all of the major nuts and bolts. We do intend to close on the property on or before November 30th, 2020, unless otherwise extended by both parties. And that's pretty much it. So if there's any questions, I'll take those. And representatives from Prairie Trails Golf LLC are also present if you have any questions for them as well.
So Mr. Palmer and his team are here tonight. Would you mind, Mr. Palmer, would you mind coming up and just kind of introducing yourself?
Okay, I'm Troy Palmer, and I don't know, I haven't every one of you, but I appreciate the opportunity. I'm from Augusta, I have a business there, been there all my life, and got a lot of friends and family around here, and I plan on staying, so I appreciate the opportunity. And, you know, took over the Augusta Golf Course in July, and we've had a lot of fun with it, and I think if you ask around, everybody else is kind of having fun too. So that's the intent, is just to keep it going, and, you know, we appreciate the opportunity to be able to grow it. Let's see what it takes us. And this is Linda Turner. Linda's been with me pretty much since the first time I ever started the business, so.
Good. So I've got a quick question that I know a lot of people have asked me is, do you have an intention, kind of as we move forward, to have cooperative golf agreements between Augusta and El Dorado, or Augusta and Prairie Trail?
Absolutely.
El Dorado and Augusta.
Absolutely, and this isn't in stone, but I didn't really want to raise rates one way or the other, so what I was thinking is it may be like a $5 or $7, say somebody from El Dorado went to Augusta, they paid $5, and then vice versa, maybe $7.50 or something, because it's 15 hole. Just a very small fee, but not to hurt anybody from where their current position is.
If they're a member, if they've got an annual membership or whatever.
We just don't want everybody to join up on the cheaper one and then.
No, I get that, yeah, for sure. For
So,
sure.
Yeah, it gets kind of tricky, but, and but the intent is, yes. And then there's some other golf courses I'm wanting to get kind of in a similar situation with us that are just to the south. So
Good.
I'm gonna talk with them as well.
Good, well, it's exciting.
Yeah.
And I've heard great things about what's going on in Augusta with that course, so, and what you've done down there.
Absolutely. Welcome.
Appreciate that.
We're glad to have you.
Absolutely.
Do you guys have any other questions for Mr. Palmer and his team?
No.
All right, well, I appreciate you guys being here tonight and sticking through the hard work with city staff and our city attorney to kind of move through this and being
Yeah.
patient with us as we did it, so,
Well, thanks, David's been great to work with, and so is Ashland.
good. How much did they pay you to say that? They give you a discount just to say that?
I know,
Is that buried in the contract? We need to reread this? No, they're good to work with, so.
we appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much.
Thanks, folks.
Okay, thank you.
Do you guys have
You ready?
questions, or do we have a motion and then discussion?
I move to approve an installment contract for deed with Prairie Trails Golf LLC and authorize the mayor to execute any documents necessary to fulfill the sale of Prairie Trails Golf Course.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing that there is none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you again. We're glad to have you in town. Appreciate you guys.
Welcome.
Okay, so next, do we have an item for discussion? Did you want to bring that up during your piece? Is that where we're at? Okay. So we'll go to Commission Advisory Board updates, and we'll start with you tonight, Commissioner Guthrie.
First of all, I would like to congratulate the high school football team for winning. Is it the first ever playoff game, or did we win first ever home playoff?
First ever home playoff.
Home playoff game. So they are playing again at home on Friday against Wamigo.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of the turnaround that's happening over there and the difficult times that those kids are going through. I haven't been able to go to the games, but I can hear them in the
Right.
crowds from my house.
Yeah, it's been great.
And I'm super excited, and congratulations, guys, and keep it going. The other thing I wanted to congratulate the high school for their new scoreboard. I saw the pictures today. The new scoreboard on the basketball court, which has, I'll tell you how old I am. We had that in the gym up there when I was there. And we changed out with the little light bulbs. And I was very happy to see that was going up back up this year. So a lot of good things going on at the schools. The other thing is, of course, I want to encourage everyone to go vote tomorrow. It's going to be a beautiful day, so if there is a line, that's absolutely, at least it's not going to be raining. And now, the bad stuff. We authorized an SUP on North Arthur. Is that, what was it, 10-something North Arthur?
I think it's 107.
107. I asked to bring him back, and he said he was going to keep that clean. I got an email on Saturday with pictures saying that this guy's making a joke of us, and the pictures were correct. He took down the fence, and he's had junk out there for a few weeks now. I've had another person tell me I needed to go by there and look at that. It was worse than when I drove by then. I don't know the scenario, but I think that it's time to cut the cord with that particular SUP and shut it down.
Commissioner, he was asked to vacate that property, and from what I
Awesome.
understand, that was to take place this weekend.
Okay.
So that's why you saw the fence removed. There is a new owner of the property, who plans to open up his own business now.
So does the SUP expire when the guy vacates the property?
That was his use, yeah.
Okay, so now that his lease is up, that SUP is not
Yeah.
valid anymore.
And so the purchaser is a local contractor, that's gonna open it up for law office for him
Nice.
and warehouse facility.
Okay, so then we don't need to revoke it, is that what I'm hearing? Okay, well,
Kind of, unfortunately, had to go through these steps,
yeah,
but it resolved itself.
awesome, okay.
So when do we expect him to be out of there? Because I went and drove by there today at lunch and it was.
So my
it was
understanding,
horrible.
in talking to Sarah Hagan, is that in the event that he's not done cleaning up tomorrow, she will issue a ticket and he will be going before the municipal court judge for that. But he's been moving forward to get it cleaned up. My understanding was his goal was to get it done by tomorrow, get it cleaned up.
Okay.
Or moved.
So it's on Sarah's radar?
It is.
Okay, so she's on top, well, then it'll get done.
Yep.
So, I've got all the faith in the world in her. That's all I got.
That's it, just one bad thing?
It was just one bad thing, man.
Sweet.
I'll bring up a couple things next week.
Next time, okay.
Think real, you can think of something else.
I'm normally last, so I'll get through you guys.
I did that on purpose.
Okay, yeah.
Commissioner Guthrie, or I mean, Commissioner
I
Lewis,
have nothing to report.
nothing. Nick, or Commissioner Beck.
The library's trick or treat drive-through was a huge success. They were expecting, they had goodie bags for 200 and they had 400.
Oh,
So, I mean, they gave away books and book bags and everything. It was just a resounding success, so they ran their butts off. I mean, they ran those many people through there in less than 2 hours. So, yeah, in cars. So, so that, they were pretty tickled with, and there were quite a few events going on. I mean, I don't know, I saw a big one out on 6th Street up there.
JRS.
But JRS, there was a boatload of kids up there too, so. Anyway, I thought that was cool, so
It was great.
that's all I got. And go vote.
Go vote. Commissioner Wilkinson.
I have no advisory board to report on, but I too, with the sentiment, get out and vote tomorrow. And be patient for the results.
So a couple of things. I would like to echo what everyone else is saying here as well. Everyone needs to get out and vote tomorrow. It is nice that it's going to be a good day and not good weather. So if you do have to wait, just wait patiently and visit with your neighbor. But make sure that we're all, say what?
6 feet apart.
Yeah, wear a mask. You'll be 6 feet apart.
It'll be a long one.
So get out to vote tomorrow. Halloween was a resounding success, I think, citywide. We had between 320 and 350 people at our house, come by our house out in Vintage, and I know that it was kind of, as we were getting ready for the night, there were a handful of us that were kind of talking, or do we expect more or less this year, more trick-or-treaters or fewer, and it kind of started off slow. But as the night went along, the neighborhood filled up like it has in the past, and it's always been something that really does my heart well to see that, on Halloween, when everyone's out there just kind of walking around and hanging out, and there's not a lot of traffic in the neighborhoods, car traffic at least, so the streets are full, and someone's driving a lawnmower with a hay rack and kids on it or whatever, and but yeah, it was a lot of fun. So there were lots of kids out in the neighborhood. We gave away lots of candy, as did all the neighbors, and so it was a good night for them. And I guess I would ask Chief Zeman, I'm guessing that Halloween went off pretty good from a law enforcement perspective as well, so.
Yep, like you said, it was very busy out as far as people. I came out about 7:30 and stayed out till about 10, and I couldn't even get through your neighborhood. There were so many people out in the street. It took me about 30 minutes just to drive through there.
Yeah.
So I didn't go through and turn on my lights or toot my air horn or anything like that. But, lot of people out. Very nice evening, and as far as calls, looked at the shift briefing. I know there wasn't about maybe 4 or 5 calls, and they weren't big calls while I was out. Yeah, pretty quiet night, so considering it was a full moon on Halloween on a Saturday, that's kind of surprising, so.
About as good as it gets,
But,
right?
yeah, it was all good.
Actually, I did come up with one more thing, Chief.
It's too late, your time's up, man.
You said I'd come up
Okay.
with something else.
Go ahead.
I was, the Waukegan incident that happened like last week, it hit home with me because my father lives up in that area. There was a shooting that involved, officers that did not have non-lethal options as far as the reports I really started reading into that because it's a few miles from my father's house. We do have that here. We do have non-lethal things, stun guns or something to that effect with our officers.
Yeah, we have tasers and we have pepper spray
Okay,
along with expandable batons.
okay. And
That now, not all the officers carry all three of those things, they've gotta carry at least one or two of them, but almost all the patrol officers while they're on duty have a taser.
Okay. I thought that was correct, but I just wanted to,
Absolutely.
we live in a different environment than that area there, and, you know, we are very fortunate to have, our police officers have that.
We were able to, and you've probably seen it in the budget, we've actually leased the tasers for the last, David, how long ago was that, 4 years ago maybe? It's on a 5-year contract, then when that's up, we'll get brand new ones to replace the ones we have, and that includes unlimited cartridges, even though it's a big upfront per year. I mean, those cartridges, I think, are, anytime you deploy one, are like $35 a shot, so. Fortunately, we haven't had to ask for a whole bunch of extra ones, but I mean, occasionally we have to use them, but, I mean, it's a very good tool and, doesn't work all the time, but in most cases it will. But,
Just one more example of why we live here, just.
but it's, to your point, I mean, when we first got tasers a number of years ago, we basically had 4 or 5 of them. The officers had to share them, and when you do that, because you've got a spark test and it runs the batteries down, it wears the unit out. When everybody pretty much has their own, they last a lot longer. And it's actually cheaper the way we're doing it, leasing now. So, but yeah, we have most of that stuff you're talking about.
Good. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
I had lunch today, a quick lunch today with David, and I mentioned something to you at lunch that I wanted to chat about tonight. And I've completely forgotten what that was. Do you remember?
Was it the community brand?
Oh, thank you. Yes, it was. Okay, so we had at our work session, we had an opportunity to visit with the Bajillion group about our community branding pieces. There were some different options, some different lettering, some different color options, all kinds of graphics. Thought it was a good conversation. The next step, go to the public and see what they think. I mean, I think that we had a really great response when we did the community flag, and you know, kind of went to the public to talk to them about, have them help with the design and see what they thought of the different designs. I think that we've engaged the Bajillion group to come up with some ideas, so that, you know, we don't need someone to come up with the design, but I think that involvement from the community, and I think Bajillion even kind of talked about that in our first meeting with them, was, you know, kind of that piece of the involvement might, you know, help sell it down the road. I just want to bring that up to the group here and see what the thoughts were about moving forward with, I don't know, David, do we put together workshops, or do we just get it out on the web, or and look for feedback, or what are your thoughts on how we maybe approach that?
I think that's already passed. I think they're finalizing stuff. If I remember correctly.
They're not in the final stages yet. They're expecting this next round of conversation to be a little more back and forth more often than what the lead up was. They're requesting input from us. That's what they
okay.
did last week. They're still requesting input from us, and ideas, options, whatever, so, I mean, they would.
Okay, I just misinterpreted that then.
So if we were to do a focus group, at what point with Bazillion would it do the most good?
If you're asking for my opinion, the way we did the flag was we put a vote on Facebook. And, I mean, it had, if I remember, something like 400 or 500 votes. Because we built up the excitement on it. And so I would say we would do something like that again. I don't know.
Probably a little late to get it on the ballot tomorrow.
So basically,
A little late to
A
get
little
this
late
ballot.
for that.
so basically the closer Bazillion gets to a final ideas,
Bajillion.
Bazillion.
Jill, J, not
But
C.
Bajillion.
Bajillion, anyway.
Bajillion.
Thank you.
Yes.
Tomato.
So I mean, right now we have three options that the commission looked at today. So an argument could be made to provide three options for the public to look at. But if you get it down to one option and get feedback, then the public might say, well, it's too late, they've already got their mind made up, what gives my input? So I know in a lot of places that I've worked with before, you wanna get the input before it's limited down to one. But that's obviously up to you all. You all kind of talked about two options that you like the best, so maybe you just go with those two options and you get feedback from those two options. But I think it's, at least at this point, it's very important to get feedback on, the message, what it says, does it resonate with people, or do we have a message that doesn't resonate with people, that we're gonna spend money on, that no one's gonna use? So we've gotta figure out, is it something the community's gonna embrace versus something that they're not? Otherwise, we've got a logo that we kinda have now.
Right.
I mean, and you can't get that in a room of 7 people or 12 people or whatever you have to. And so Tavin's right, a poll on Facebook might be good. Maybe we can maybe do some videos where we kind of outline, this is what this means, kind of like go through the narrative and everything, so people understand a little bit about what that looks like. But I think giving people an opportunity to kind of look at it and then provide input would be valuable.
That was the question that I was asking David today, really was just about that. We've got those three options. The challenge with any of them is there's a story behind it, right? There's a story behind how they came up with the branding. And I asked David today, how do we get that story out until people understand? And I think that's, maybe you've thought about it, but I think that's a good idea to maybe think about some videos. I think we throw those out there to the public and get that feedback, because we've gone through some logos in this town. It's in the time that we've all been here, and some mottos and some, and it's just, over time, it's been difficult to get public buy-in for it. And I think that getting the public on board with the process, I think will do well for us, but that's where I'm at. My suggestion personally would be to throw out there the three options that they gave us, along with the descriptor. Maybe get back with bajillion people and put together a little descriptor video of their thought behind the design in each of those areas, and put it out for comment on Facebook. It worked really well for the flag, and I'm gonna tell you guys, as everyone knows, we got Dorado flags everywhere, now. We involved the public in that. We got public buy-in, we got public excitement about it. And it's great being able to drive around town and see the Dorado flag flying in places, and see it on face masks, and see it on the back windows of cars. But I think that, had that been created in a vacuum, I don't think that would be the case. So, it's my opinion.
I'm cool with it.
How long do you wanna leave it hang though? How long do we wanna keep it?
I think I would like, with your permission, to just reach out to Bajillion in the morning and talk to them about this a little bit, and kind of come back with whatever they think, and then go from there.
I think that's great. They'll have a better, they do this for a living. They know a lot more about it than I do. I equate it to what we did with the flag and how much community buy-in we got with the flags. So, they know this process certainly better than I do. They're the experts here. So I'd maybe reach out to them and let us know what they say. That's,
That does bring up a very good point. So we are not planning to have a work session next week because of Veterans Day. City Hall's closed. So that would mean that the following week, unless you guys don't want to do this, we would have a regular meeting on Monday and a work session on Wednesday. So the earliest we would have a dialogue about what Bajillion says would be the 18th of November. I don't know if that would be too late, too long. I don't know what your timeline would be for this, but that's what we'd be looking at for that if we wanted to. do
and if
that.
we, yeah, so next week is Veterans Day on the 11th. I saw that email from you, and I mean, City Hall is closed, so staff would not normally be here, and I'm not available on Veterans Day evening. So, just so you guys know, we do other family things that evening. And then the next week, 2 meetings, and if we put off the work session for another week, then it's Thanksgiving Wednesday. So, I mean, I think the best bet would probably be to have the 2 meetings in that 1 week. I mean, it's an extra day that week if we can do it, if you guys are available. Regular commission meeting, then a work session on Wednesday.
That's the week my daughter gets
Oh,
married.
that is,
I
isn't it?
don't know what,
That is.
I got a feeling I'm gonna be kinda busy.
I think so, yeah. That is that week. I was looking at the
I
calendar.
may be looking for a break though.
Might need a little breather for an hour. Do you want to spend that breather here at a work session or down at Willie's?
I can go to Willie's and then come here. Well, done that a time or two.
Thoughts about the work session?
Well, maybe
time?
we just see what Bajillion says first before we, I mean,
Well, I mean, I guess a quick answer would be, how long would you all want? Because the fact of the matter is, if we say a month, we can get something together, we can get it out there, we can get voting. I mean, Bajillion can give us with some of the technical stuff, like, this is how you should do it, but in terms of a duration, how comfortable are you? Do you wanna go till Thanksgiving, you wanna go till, a month? I mean, and then we're bumping up against Christmas and the following month, and it gets real busy then too, so it's.
I think that if we look back at the time frame that we had the final vote on the flag out there, I think that was a good timeline. We got a lot of responses.
Yeah.
Bajillion may come back and say, you guys need 6 months, which I think all of us are gonna be like, wait a minute, that's not what we want. So, I mean, I think that if I remember the flag timing, I think that it was about a month, about 30 days that you had that kind of, the finals out there to vote on, and it was an iteration with the flag deal.
Right.
But when the finals came out, I think you had it out there about a month, and that would put us maybe back in here right after Thanksgiving, having, with the results, and be able to, whatever that first meeting in December is, and be able to start moving forward with something.
How many views did you get on your Facebook talk about the survey?
I think it won, the highest point, I think I had 25 on there, so.
I watched it. I mean, you could put it out that way. You did a good job to putting that out there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it would be very difficult for us to put out kind of what they did here, where we kind of go through the themes, somebody can read the narrative and kind of go through that just like they did, and make like 3 quick videos or 1 video, get that out there, people can watch it, and then they can vote, 1, 2, or 3. Then that input then gets provided to you all, and then if you are like, yeah, that looks good, and then Bajillion can then refine that last option, and then we go from there. But I think that's what I would kind of look at, is just getting what they provided us in sorts. We already have the script for it and everything, we can kind of make that work. It's not rocket science, so to speak.
Does that sound good, guys?
Yes.
Okay.
Will that allow us to get information before Thanksgiving?
We probably aim for that, but I would probably come back and ask later for just 1 more week, depending on how long it takes us to make the video. I mean, we'd like to have it done by the end of the week, but we're kind of swamped right now, so.
Because if we get too far into December,
Mhm.
we're gonna lose interest
Right.
because of Christmas.
I agree.
Oh, yeah, no, Ken, I agree with that. I mean, I think that this public comment portion of the process, or the public input portion, needs to be wrapped up by the first part of December, because everyone's gonna we all get busy with other things in December, so I agree with that completely. That's all I've got city manager's report?
I wanted to compliment city employee Barry Brown on not only his, just Halloween's like Christmas and everything rolled into one for him. Not only what he did here, but what he did at his house. I mean, there
Sounds
were
great.
people stopping and getting their picture taken in front of his house. It was really cool.
It looked really good. We got a great community, great people, so. What do you got, David?
So just, so not to go back and play your play, but on the 18th, yea or nay? Because I didn't get it. I mean, Nick won't be here.
Definite maybe.
So
I would be,
what,
yeah.
so,
I mean, the only thing that I think I have right now is, I guess what I'd call a strategic planning discussion, where we talk about the survey, and I know we talked a little bit about prioritizing, having a discussion about that, to continue that conversation. I don't know if you're.
yeah, I
prepared
mean, that's the
to-
next piece, right? That's the next piece, so.
About the stuff we saw the other night.
The
the other
survey
day.
results, not the bajillion stuff, but the survey,
Oh, okay.
just to
Maybe.
have the work session, figure out the next
I
steps
mean,
there,
I-
now that we've got.
Don't not do it because of me. I'm just saying, maybe.
I say that, but I'm not getting anybody else to say yes, you know.
What's your availability the 18th?
Okay, I'll say yes, and then maybe I'll be here. Yes, do it.
I can be here.
I can be here.
There
Let's
you go.
plan on the 18th. If something comes up, we need to change it, we can cancel it, we cancel it, but we can get that on the agenda, on the schedule to get a plan.
Okay, that'll work. I didn't really have much more than
Okay,
that.
no executive session? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Have a great evening.